it would be on the agenda, would be the election of the officers for this year. So I'm opening it up, guys.
Are you okay with being chairman, Rex?
I can do it.
Okay, if
Yeah,
not,
that's
say
okay
so.
with you.
but- All right, I would feel better if you're chairman on this. I don't know how Steve feels.
No, that's fine. Yep. So you're nominating me?
Yes, I would. Yeah.
Okay. All in favor?
Aye. Right.
Okay. Motion carries, and then we need the vice president.
Stan.
Hi. I'm
Okay.
sorry. I was on the
All
phone
right.
and I
Okay.
couldn't get away.
Steve
But I come
nominated
bearing
Mike
gifts.
and me, so.
I will second that. Okay.
All right.
So yeah. So motion's been made and seconded, and the motion carries. Stan, you're going to be vice chairperson.
Okay.
Okay. So we got that taken care of. Now on the minutes. I know, Ed, you had down that we had two different meetings, but on that last meeting we had in August, I think it was August, 20, was it 26th?
Yes.
We did approve the minute. We did approve the minutes in January of 2021.
Okay.
So we would need to make a motion to approve the August, I think it was August 31st of 21 minutes. We need to make that, approve those minutes.
And I
Okay.
presented all of you with a copy of the same. That was when we did the bank bid, the RFP.
January, you said
Yeah.
we approved already, right?
Yeah, we did that in August. When we had our August meeting, we approved the previous
I see that.
January meeting, yeah. So we just need your minutes of August 31st.
Okay. Okay, they look okay from what I can recall. So I make a motion to approve.
Second.
Okay, motions are made and seconded to go ahead and approve the minutes of August 31st, 2021. Motion carries. Okay, Ed, we're going to just turn it over to you. We've got to review the investment policy.
Okay, all of you have, and this is document number 3 in your packet.
All right.
All of you have this investment policy. Nothing has changed from last year. Everything is the same in the policy. We can go through it item by item, but if you were happy with it last year, well, I guess you'll be happy with it this year.
Hey, Ed, the only thing that, when I read through the thing, and the only thing I was questioning was the fact that when we do CDs, we do get quotes from all the other banks. But when we do and I can remember when I was treasurer, when we did the investment policy and did the work with the broker,
Yes?
I guess I really didn't go out and get 3 different quotes from brokerage firms to find out who was the best. That's a little bit harder to determine, in my opinion, to do that.
It is because of the fact that by their very nature, bonds, when we are very restricted on what we can buy, restricted by the state with a very narrow guidelines for safety and security, and there's a bunch of different reasons. And net value is not at the top of the list. They want you to be safe and secure more than anything.
Yeah,
And
you're right. And we invest in the AAA.
Right. Everything's AAA or above.
Yeah.
It's the same broker that Tom used. It's the same broker that you used, Rex. And we've been with Mark Davidoff for quite some time. I don't know how we could go about doing any comparison, because if I don't jump on a bond that's available within an hour, it's sold out.
Rex,
I would
does
agree.
does the
Is that
statute
microphone
state
on?
that we have to, does the statute state that we have to get 3 quotes for bonds, or is it just CDs?
Did you hear that, Rex?
Yes, I did, and I'm not quite sure on that. I would agree, Ed. The fact is that you gotta react to those things pretty quick. And I don't know how in the heck you would compare one brokerage firm to another.
Yeah, I've had different brokers contact me, wanting me to switch to them, and I just
Right.
refuse to do it. We've got such good service from Mark Davidoff for so many years, and
Right.
he treated me well, he's treated Tom well, and he treated you very well. And,
Yep.
you know, it's a proven track record with him, and I'm happy. So,
Hey, Ed, did the State Board of Accounts, did they review our investment policy?
do they?
I don't
Yes.
think it's ever,
It's
it's never been questioned.
No, I have to turn this into them. And it's always, they just want to make sure that it's done at a good meeting and you guys approve it. And I've never got any comments back one way or the other on things to do
Well, I
different.
read it over. I don't have a problem with it, guys. I don't know how you and Steve feel about it, but I'm okay with it.
Now, before you make any more comments, I want to tell you about a CD that we have. We only have one, and it's with Fifth Third Bank. And I have to keep a minimal amount of money in there in order to have no fees from Fifth Third Bank. So it's one that gets us very little interest, as none of the CDs give us very much interest. But I have to do it with Fifth Third in order to have no fees and to continue with them as a person to, or as a bank to collect our taxes. I don't want to lose that.
Right,
So
right.
I have $3,500 invested with the CD that we're getting 0.01%. 0.1, excuse me, 0.1. So I can't really bid that one out because it has to be with Fifth Third.
Oh, that's fine.
State Board of Accounts knows about it.
Okay. Okay, guys, so it's up to you. You got any additional questions of Ed from the investment policy standpoint?
I don't have any additional questions.
I don't either. Looks good to me.
Okay, I'll need a motion and a second then.
I'll make a motion.
Second.
Okay, motion's been made and second to go ahead and approve the investment policy as Ed has presented to us. Motion carries.
Okay, Rex, so who can we have to sign for you remotely?
Tony can, or I can sign when I get home. If
Okay,
you want
that'd
to
be fine.
hold it.
That'll be fine. I'll just hold it till you get back.
Okay. Okay, go ahead, Ed, if you want to go ahead. You wanted to cover the year-end balance, cash balances and so on.
Okay, I'm getting this back from Stan right now. Thank you, guys. The year-end cash balances are document number 4, and it's pretty much self-explanatory on what we have in all the different banks. Now, this is year-end, December 31st. The thing I want to point out to you is what I have written down there in my little scribble handwriting, is that if you take that 27,527,000 and subtract it from the 35,718,000 at the end of 2021, that puts us 8,191,000 over what we had the previous year. And if you take out the $3.474 million of the stimulus that we got in May, we are still 4.716 million ahead of this point in 2020. So, and I have some paperwork a little bit later on that will help to explain where some of that money is, but it's sure good to be $4.716 million ahead of last year.
What are we attributing that difference to?
I think now's the time to look at the paperwork, isn't it?
Or if you're gonna talk about that later, that's fine.
I am,
Okay.
if that's all right.
Yeah,
So I
sorry.
just wanted to show you that. But if you'd like to go through and ask any specific questions, it's all there. We have money in 11 different bank accounts. We have, that totals 32,793,000. We have money.
What was your total? Oh, this was-
32,793,000.
Depository.
That's about halfway down. That's the bank cash.
Okay, got it.
Okay, we have investment money, which is our bonds and CDs, 2,924,000. That totals up 35,718,000. We keep $550 in our drawer for operating money every day. We're $18 over for last year, and that brings it up to 35,718,665.
I got one question on that Farmers Merchant State Bank money maker bonus of 10,857,910.18. I thought that Bank of Bern paid more than any place.
They do. Bank of Bern pays 0.43,
Right,
and Farmers and Merchants pays 0.35.
okay.
I purposely diversified throughout all 5 banks because I feel that it's not gonna happen. But say if Bank of Bern folds up for some reason, their computer crashes, whatever, we still need money to operate on. This gives us 10 million in Farmers and Merchants to operate on. Or, and it goes through the different ones. And I kind of have it delineated out with how much taxes they collect for us each year. Bank of Bern, by far and away, collects the most taxes, but Farmers and Merchants is right behind them. So as a good steward of keeping things diversified throughout the 5 banks in the county, it just makes sense for me to keep some money in Farmers and Merchants. And it's a 0.08 difference, so it's not really a huge money amount different.
And First Bank of Bern still has the majority of the money because they have the health insurance accounts.
Right, see
There,
that.
that's 3.2, plus there's a little bit in excise and tax.
I just feel better having we could put every penny
Well, I realize that
in
you
the
want
Bank
to,
of Bern, but I want to keep
I
it
understand
spread
you
out.
want to keep it spread out. I just thought it was
10
from
million's a
10
lot.
to 12. I thought it was
Yeah, 10 million's a lot, but they also,
0.08% on 5 million. That's a lot too.
it does.
So
That's the money.
I might, I just wanted to voice my opinion.
Yeah, it's some money, but I would really feel bad taking it less than that because they are a good partner. They've always been a good partner, and I want to keep them as a good partner.
One of the things that I have been hearing is that, as we look ahead, there is gonna be an advantage to having, money in banks that are locally owned.
Yes,
And from what I understand, First Bank of Bern is still controlled by a locally owned board.
it's the only locally owned bank.
So
in
as far
Adams
as
County.
Farmers and Merchants or First Merchants, Fifth Third and Flagstar, those are all not locally owned.
Right.
Those are larger.
And we saw that when we had the bank bid last year. First Bank of Bern really stepped up to the plate, and they wanted it badly, and they got it, because of everything. We just kept with them.
But I guess, like I say, that gives me a warm fuzzy feeling to know that First Bank of Bern is a locally owned bank.
And
It was
say,
different.
Stan, on top of that, Stan, is they are one of the top performing banks in the state of Indiana.
Bank of
They
Bern.
got one, the Bank of Bern, they got
Yes.
one of the highest ratings. Yeah.
That's probably just because that's where I've got all my money.
That's why they had to
Well,
build
they don't
extra
even need our
branches.
money. They can operate off of yours alone.
That's right, yeah. Don't tell Tammy, yeah.
Oh,
So if
God.
you're all right with those cash in balances, we can move on.
Yes, you can. Go ahead.
Okay, document number 5, it's the investments. It's at the end of the year. And this shows all of our bonds and also our $3,500 CD. And all of these bonds that are on the top part of that page are with Mark Davidoff of Stiefel, Nicholas and Company out of New York. This is the company that Tom Kuchenberg used for 8 years, that Rex Moore used for nearly all of his term, and we're very happy with them. We got $2,921,000 invested. We're making some money with them, not a lot, but we're making money. What's happened over my year especially is interest rates kind of petered out to nothing. And especially the first part of the year, I had some of these bonds mature, and I looked to renew those as bonds. They were not available anymore. Interest rates, we couldn't get anywhere close to it. But luckily, I was able to put that money in our savings account. And even Mark Davidoff says, I can't touch 0.43. That was at the beginning of last year. Since then, we have been able to increase that, and I've done about almost 500,000. Oh, excuse me, almost $1 million. And the first one is at 0.8%. The second one 0.8, and the third one we had to buy in and at 2.85, and we end up getting a yield of 1.266%, and that's really good rates right now. And we're seeing those bond rates start to creep up, and it'll be my intention here to invest about $1 million a year in 3 or 4 different bites, and increase that up to where we have about $4 million in bond investment rather than the $3 million that we have now.
I do see a slight error on this paper. At the bottom under certificates, it says 2020 interest earned. That should be 2021 interest earned of all of 88 cents.
On our $3,500 CD.
Yeah. Sorry, I didn't catch that.
Okay. So the bond deal is something that's new to me. You know, I've learned, but I learned to trust the people that know what they're doing, and this Mark Davidoff is really, really good. I've talked at length with Rex and with Tom, and both of them said, well, Ed, it's your decision on what you do, but they both suggested that I stay right with Mark Davidoff. And I've met him personally. Good man, good man. He knows what he's doing, and he knows to treat us right, so.
I didn't get a chance to go to New York yet. I'll take you out for supper.
Well, let's go. When you get back, we can both go.
Sounds like a plan, right?
All right.
Okay, any other questions, guys, on that?
Nope, I don't think so.
Do you need
Okay,
a
well, we
motion on that?
No.
No? Okay.
go.
Okay.
Go ahead, Ed.
The next is the payment summary, and I have that as 6A and 6B. If you look at page 6A, it's actually a front and back for you guys. I want you to pay attention to the $36,420,000 at the bottom of the first page there. And basically, Kathy, explain this, please.
This is the total collections, ditches, reconstructions, everything. All the money that the treasurers took in for tax money in 2020 was a $36,420,000. And then you have a similar report 6B. That is all the money collected in 2021 for the entire year.
So if you'll compare 6A to 6B, we have $2,300,000 more collected this last year rather than the prior year. So that's good.
Oh, that's not necessarily the increase in general. That's just the increase in what was collected.
Yes.
Right, that was, that money went to the schools, the cities, we probably got a small portion of that, but that could be reflection of tax increases from one year to the other.
And when I come down here every week and would give you an update on where we're at percentage of collections, I did that all last year. That was with just the tax money that we have billed, and it was 32 million something. And I would give you a percentage of collections on this. This is everything, as Kathy alluded to, the the ditches, the reconstruction money. There's money that comes from different entities, and it's all on these two pages. So the comparison we're doing is 38,709,000 of this last year versus 36,420,000 from the prior year.
The second page of the report is strictly just your sewer liens, the conservancies, the ditch maintenance, ditch reconstruction, the weed liens. So if you subtract that off of there, that would be the tax money collected that went to the county, schools, cities, townships.
So from these two pages, I'm not seeing $2 million difference where,
Oh, yeah, there's over 2 million.
When you look
I
at
mean,
the.
I believe it at the totals. I'm just saying from the individual line items.
Oh, the individual, it's actually a 7-page report, and I
Okay.
didn't print the first pages.
Gotcha.
If you want them, I can get them for you. It would give you each taxing district. We have 23 taxing districts. Everything between the first 23 lines and the end of this is nothing but
Okay.
individual ditches with
Okay.
the sewer liens and everything in there. It's just a lot of paper, so.
So
I thought
is
we did it
that
well.
where a lot of the 2 million is attributed, the increase to ditch assessments?
No, I don't think so, because when you compare the backside of these, there's only $8,000 difference there that increased from 2020 to 2021. So
Right.
of the 2 million, 8,000 was ditches.
So where's
Everything
the
else-
other 1.9 or?
I didn't print those, but if you'd like to see them, I can print them and get them to you to see
So
what
there's
taxing
no,
districts increased. But your tax rates increased last year, so every township increased, so every township's taxes are going to go up some.
Everybody paid a little more taxes this last year than they did the previous year, because everybody's value of their house went up. Kind of supply and demand, and, you know, we all paid more than we did. Most likely, every
so what,
taxpayer in Adams County paid more than they did last year.
you think part of that was because the assessments were higher?
Could be, yeah.
Yeah, I
And
mean,
probably a big
yes.
portion, but then the tax rates also went up a little bit, so those combined will raise your taxes. And I think that if I would print those, the individual pages for you, or the top of this report, I think that overall you're gonna see an increase of every township. But I can't just say that for a fact because I don't have it in front of me, but I would say that's probably likely.
Well,
And it could be,
Mhm.
it could be that we collected more delinquency
oh, yeah,
from the previous year. So part of that $2 million could be money that wasn't collected in 2020, that was collected in 2021.
so Guido earned his money.
Yes.
But, you know, so if, you know, I assume that, you know, part of the assessments was, you know, from increased valuation, increased appraisals and trending. Part of the assessments were probably from a lot of the building, you know, because last year we had like $8 million additional in building permits
Yes.
from 2020, you know, so, I mean, if you have,
You won't realize that until the next year, though.
oh, okay. Because we had a lot of new building last year that went on, so,
So we can see these, we can expect these numbers to even increase more next year.
yeah, because like building permits for 21 were like 28,300,000, and the year before that, they were like 20 million. I mean, there was a lot of building went on this last
Yeah.
year.
Okay, you guys good with that?
Yeah, thank you for,
Okay.
Yeah, I'm fine with that.
Next up is document number 7, which is the year-end balances on 11 different accounts and that we have in Adams County. I have a tax account with each of the 5 banks. With farmers and merchants, we actually have 2 different accounts. they were our primary bank at one time, and we had 2 different accounts set up with them, and we just kept it that way, especially through this last RFP, because we weren't sure which way they were gonna land. But one of them is the tax account and the other is the investment account that we have. They're both paying the same. But there's 11 different accounts. Up in the upper right-hand corner in my printing, it shows what we have in each of the 5 banks, comes up to $32,793,610. Pretty straightforward there.
So the amount of money in Fifth Third, just $100, is that just kind of, so we keep an account open there?
That
or-
tax account, they pay 0 interest.
Oh,
0 interest, so we keep it down to the minimum. I do have $3,500 in that
Right,
CD
right.
with them
I
to
see.
keep from getting fees. I'm probably going to have to increase that amount because they're getting pressure from their headquarters, and Natasha Neville, who's our Decatur branch manager, says that I'm probably gonna have to put more money in a CD to keep from getting fees. Now, Fifth Third Bank is probably the biggest nationwide bank that we have. I see that all 4 of our regional or nationwide banks are gonna go to that down the road. They gotta earn some money somewhere for doing what they're doing. So put it in the CD as a way that we can keep from having to knock them off as a collector of taxes. I want to keep all 5 banks as good partners in collecting bank taxes for us.
Fifth Third does collect the least amount of our taxes.
Really?
Yeah.
So, and the $100 is the minimum we have to keep
So
that
does that
account.
CD pay interest, or is that?
Yeah, pays
88 cents last year.
0.1. We weighed 88 cents last year.
That was just for half a year basically, because we opened it later. I don't know when we opened it, but yeah.
So we could double that.
We could double it this year.
I could give both of you 2 a half a cookie each, maybe.
Might go buy you a cup of coffee, huh?
Did you make those brownies?
Deb did. No, I did. Yes, I did. I
Here,
didn't even see you eating it.
You're missing out, Rex. We had brownies this
Yeah, I
morning.
know it. I know it. I feel bad.
And I didn't know Kathy was here today, so come up and get a brownie when you're done. I'm sorry.
Okay, so that's the bank, the bank balances. Document number 8 is the handwritten document, and the reason we have it this way is because it goes clear back to 2007, when everything was written in longhand in these big ledger books, and it just was simpler to keep it that way. And Kathy, you can go ahead and explain this one if you would, please.
Basically, this was done, I've been here 19 years now, and this goes back as before I was here. And the ledger investments is going to be fund investments. Like if the highway wanted us to invest some of their money, the interest would go under ledger investments. MOD is money on deposit, which is all of our investments right now. So all of our bonds and, CD, that whole 88 cents, all that is on that line. And then the now accounts is all of our bank accounts, our checkings, savings, things like that. So this is hard to read, I know. As you can see, last year was $304,739.53. This year it went down to $184,052.67. The interest rates just tanked. We just don't get anything on any of our money. But hopefully next year it'll be up because things are starting to rise just a little bit, so.
But we had some bad years in 2011 and 2012.
Yes.
When were you treasurer, Rex? Is that your fault?
No, look at
That
07.
was up to 2012. Yeah, interest rates went down.
You were
Hey,
in
but I had a-
2007, but look at 2007, it's over $1 million.
Yeah, I know. That's a glory year there.
I think that might have been the year that Bank of Geneva screwed up and paid us a little too much
That's
interest.
exactly what happened, Kathy. That's
Yeah.
exactly what happened. Yeah, they made a mistake and we got to reap the benefits of it.
Yeah.
Was that a pretty big mistake then?
It was a big mistake.
Oh.
Here,
Yep.
09
They
was
put
less
out-
than
they-
this year.
they quoted us an interest rate, I think then, Kathy, I believe it was 6%.
Yeah, it was high.
Wow.
But then the next time we went out for bids, bankers didn't even give us a bid. And I saw Dan Burry, who was on the board at that time, and in the Coliseum, and I said, "Hey, Dan, you didn't give us a bid." He said, "Do you know why we didn't?" He said, "Because you got all that money from us the previous year."
Yeah,
I said, "Yeah, I know you guys made a mistake. We just thank you for that."
yeah,
But Rex, I will say that you were the bigger man, that you realized they made a mistake and you talked to them about it before you finalized everything. And they said, no, we made the mistake, we're gonna live up to it.
Yep, they did.
You were ready to let them out if that need be though.
Well, I knew they made a mistake, and when we talked about it, yeah, they were gracious enough to honor their, their commitment.
What was a typical interest that year?
oh gosh. Do you know, Rex? I don't know what the typical
So
interest was.
it would have been, they paid us about twice what the rate was at that point in time.
Wow.
Yeah, I don't know what they were thinking, when they put that down there. But it was a major item.
Wow.
And we paid no fees to them, so that was all money to us. They didn't get anything other than the use of our money, so.
Any other questions on the investment money? Funded investment?
It's interesting to see it on a handwritten ledger.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Well, and we
I
could,
could do it on
we
Excel.
could switch it all over, but
Yeah.
that's just how it's been since the
Yeah.
glory days of
Well,
Rex
you just
Moore.
don't see him.
Kathy probably remembers Gladys did it that way, so that's the way I just
I
always.
remember doing all the county
Okay.
payroll that way.
Let's move on to document number 9, and that's our end of the year balances with funds. Now, these are not all of the funds, but after we collect the tax money and the ditch money and all this and that, we turn it all over, those numbers, to the auditor's office, and they put it in the proper funds. This kind of shows you some that have gone up and some that have gone down. Some have gone up quite a bit, and you can see that. It also has the ARPA money in there. That's 8950. That's that fund of 3,457,000. But anyway, all those funds total up to 8,304,959. And if you take the 3,474 ARPA money out, that still leaves us with $4,830,000 more in our funds at the end of 2021 than we had at the end of 2020. So I'm very happy with that.
If I could explain just a little further, what I did was I took the end of the year 2020 compared to the end of the year 2021. And if I saw a 200, 300, or 1,000 or more difference, or what I thought was a big difference in the fund, I just highlighted it and then I put it on this sheet. Some of that is grant money. If you look at Fund 9001, 9002, I'm guessing that's a lot of grant money that has come in, so it's not just tax money. But I was really, when we did the end of the year comparison, sheet number 4, that 8,191,000 just really floored me. I've never seen that. It's usually
Wow.
$200,000-300,000. So I got curious and I did this other sheet, and I was pleased when I saw that there was 8,304,000 difference between. So there's our 200 or so thousand. But anyway, that's how I came up with this. I did not pick out any specific funds. I just glanced down and saw, well, the first one only had $311,000 in 2020, I had $550 in 2021. So we'll throw that one in the mix. And, so that is how I went down through there and came up with those numbers. There was nothing logical about it. I shouldn't say logical, but there was no set reason I did that. I just saw there was a large difference in the fund, and that's what I put on the list.
To just,
I think it's interesting to look at that. This is a very interesting comparison.
I thought it was too.
Economic development, the lit economic development was up quite a bit. So to me, that's a sign of employment.
Yeah.
Low unemployment or high employment. But like the funds,
Excuse me.
you know, that's a sign of increased property taxes, right?
Yes, yeah, I don't do that well. I think it probably is.
Because
The
there's.
Hume Bridge is gonna be, you know, that's your South Adams Trail, that's all that kind of stuff also. So I don't know that all that money is coming from taxes. It could be coming from grants for
I
the
see.
trail and stuff like that too.
Same with Cume Cap and Cume Jail,
Mhm.
Yeah.
so.
And your MVH funds, you know, your restricted was a lot higher. There again, I don't know.
Well, I think the state changed their formula. I think they put a higher percentage towards restricted and lower
Less towards just the general,
unrestricted.
yeah, the
Yeah,
unrestricted.
I think so, yeah.
So,
Well, I think it's very good, Ed. I know when I was looking at doing the state of the county address last year, looking at the figures that we had, I had projected if we didn't have any increases at all, and we just held our own, that we'd have a $500,000 increase in cash. Well, you can see where we're at. Even at Christmas, $4,700,000. That's
I'm
good.
happy. I'm happy. For my first year as county treasurer, of course, there's a lot of unknowns as you go in any office. And to know that I followed two really good county treasurers, and those are both big pairs of shoes to fill. And I'm just thrilled with my first year. And, you know, we want to do better from here on out even. But like you said, if I would have just broke even, that would have been a good year, at least in your eyes, Rex. So
Yeah,
we've done-
absolutely. And the thing
we've gone far
what makes
past
it nice, what makes it nice with this situation here is the fact that we're going into some uncharted waters right now with inflation
Yep.
and some of the things that we're going to be faced with. We got good cushion, excess cushion to go ahead and I think to weather that storm that's going to be coming up.
Yep. Well, one of the big numbers that I brought up a month ago was the fact that we have enough money already in our health reserve account already to pay for all of the bills that we had incurred last year. It could go up or down for this next year, but if it stays the same, we already have more than enough to pay for all of that. And that's without putting our regular quarterly contributions into that fund. So
Yeah,
that's something that comes right out of our pocket as Adams County, is that the health reserve. And
Right.
we want to make sure we maintain it, and we're in very, very good shape with that.
On some of these accounts, you know, I think, you know, we need to look too at what the parameters are, you know, as far as for all the different accounts and how we can use them, how they can be spent, and.
Well, I want to let you know, though, that as far as the treasurer's office is, we collect the money and we turn it over to the auditor's office. Once it goes over there, that's really between you and the auditor's office, because
Right.
at that point, the treasurer's office, we make no declarations on where the money should go. That's entirely between the commissioners and the auditor's office.
Right.
And then the council spends it, you know, out of there. So we're in good shape. Tony and I work extremely well together, and of course you guys work very well with Tony. And I'm very happy with Kathy Mitchell. She is my liaison with county council. She comes to my office regularly, and we talk about anything and everything. And it just, my first year has gone beyond my expectations. And I just want to report to all of you that and that's part of this financial committee meeting, that I feel good.
Well, we sure appreciate that for sure, even if you're surrounded by Kathy's. So.
Well, Kathy, I come to the conclusion that Kathy and Deb upstairs, they know far more than I will ever know in this office, and I'm good with that. You know, that's no problem. Stay in my own lane, so to speak. Kathy needs to go upstairs. We are starting our training for Exoff today, and they're going to get everything ready. I got some more business to do with you guys at the commissioners meeting. But if you have any other questions for Kathy, right now's the time.
okay,
Well,
Thank you.
Thanks for coming down, Kathy.
sure, if you need more brownies, there's still some up there.
Oh,
Give you a chance to come up with it.
Save them, Kathy, save them.
How How long you gonna be?
Tomorrow.
Hey, I'm coming home tomorrow.
Good deal. We will save you one. Come on in.
Oh, yeah,
All right.
that's right. You got to
Dave-
watch my shirt, don't you?
Oh, that's right. Shoot.
Ed talked
I
about,
should be too.
Ed talked about having big shoes to fill. I'd just like to see Rex put shoes on instead of slippers.
All right,
Hey,
thank you.
I like to
I'll
get
be
out
up
of
in
these,
a little bit. I got a
Hey,
couple
Stan?
things.
Yeah.
I like to get out of these hospital PJs. They're terrible.
I got a couple other things I want to go over with you. We have two main machines in our office, the Pitney Bowes postage machine and the Hassler folder envelope stuffing machine. That envelope stuffing machine is, they're both getting a little bit old. We are not going to be using that envelope stuffer too much this year because we're going to that mail service that will be starting here. So they will be doing all the envelope stuffing and folding and all that stuff. They'll be doing that off-site. The Pitney Bowes postage machine, we have ran nearly $300,000 of postage through that thing over several years. It's getting old. It's gonna need to be replaced one of these days. It's getting a little fidgety, but we're keeping it running. And I just want to let you know that that's going to be an expenditure somewhere down the road. It's working fine now, but we know how to use the hammer in the right spot to make it work.
So is that something you're gonna wait and see how this mailing service works out?
Yes, I don't
Before
want
you
to get
look
rid
at
of
those
either.
machines?
Well, we'll always keep the postage machine because the whole county has stuff to mail out, and we do the whole county. People bring it to us every day, and then we mail it every day. So we'll always have to have a postage machine. I'm going to suppose that somewhere down the road, we're gonna have to upgrade and get a newer one. But that's just kind of part of doing business.
Yeah.
As far as the 34,000 documents that we mail out for tax bills, we'll be doing that off-site. So that will help to keep our postage machine going for a lot longer. We kept that last year when we ran those through, it was 3 weeks of running stuff through that machine, pretty much 8 hours a day. And if that would have stopped, we would have been SOL. Okay.
So I remember when you talked about that from a cost estimate at that time, you were looking at pretty much an even
Yeah,
give and take
I
on.
still think it's gonna come out pretty much 50-50 as far as, and then that'll save us 3 weeks of 3 people a day working on all of this. 3 full weeks. When we push that button to send all the info to the mail service, what we did in 3 weeks with 3 people, they can do in about 4 hours.
Wow.
It's amazing. I toured the facility. They have a post office right on site.
Is it much of a transition to get them all the correct information?
Nope. It's the stuff that we would do in preparation of printing. And when we do all of the work with the different files and getting everything ready, and we would hit the main thing to start printing. We just basically send it in an email down to New Albany, Indiana, where this mail service is, and they take it from there. So we notch 3 weeks off of the workload. That's one of the reasons we cut our part-time seasonal help in half for last year for this budget. So that's a big part of it. So I think it's going to come out 50-50. Good. So those are those 2 machines. And then as far as the technology, the Xsoft tax software has been installed. The training begins right now. They're starting upstairs. We have Ryan Kennecke from Xsoft, and they're doing our initial training today. We're going to have them this week. And the auditor's office also needs it. It's probably going to be a couple weeks before they get the training. And then once they do, we can go live with that.
So will that involve the assessor too?
Not really so much on the tax.
Okay.
Yeah, now they already have Xsoft as far as their CAMA software there. And Xsoft is an industry leader in that. So it's a good combination, but they don't really do a whole lot with the tax software. So that's today. The L&D Mail Masters, that's the people out of New Albany, Indiana. They will print and mail all of our tax bills. They'll be easier to read this year. They'll be in color. They've done it for a lot of years. They know what they're doing. They're going to be a really good partner. Once again, I don't think it's going to cost any different. I don't know until we go through, but it's gonna be close to what we were paying last year. And then the third item there, the value payment system, that's our new credit card vendor that I want to get a contract signed today with. They are going to expand the options that I want to have for our taxpayers. Right now, as far as a credit card, they can either come into the office, hand us the card, and we do everything by hand, or they can call on the phone and we do everything by phone. Once again, knowing their card numbers and such, Mike Brown does not want us to get involved with knowing anybody's credit card numbers. He does not want us to even touch their credit card. So we will have some kiosks similar to Walmart where you stick your own credit card in there, put your PIN number and okay it. We won't see the card, we won't touch the card. That's if they come to the counter. If they call in, we can give them their parcel number, and then we'll have an 800 number that they call, and they will finish the transaction. It's called IVR, which I'm not sure what that means, but basically the remote vendor takes all their credit card information over the phone. Of course, the easiest way is to mail a check with no extra fee, or you can do it online and still pay a fee. So any transaction that they use plastic is the same fee that eGov charges, which is 2.49% or $1.50 per e-check. That's amazing. People don't know their checking account numbers. They just don't. So, but I'm real excited about being able to clear this. I've talked at length with Mark and we've gone back and forth with eGov on basically getting out of that contract, and we're ready to go. We're ready in our meeting, your meeting coming up here in 15 minutes to get that contract signed. But gentlemen, ladies, that's all I have here this morning for the financial committee meeting. Unless you have any questions, comments, reprimands.
Well, that's pretty darn good news, Ed.
I'm happy. Who could have ever guessed that I'm gonna have a nearly $5 million gain over last year? And last year was, the year prior was good.
Well, you had
Adamstown's good
Yeah,
fiscal
you ended
shape.
up having a great collection rate too. What did it end up being? 98?
Oh, I
Point
got
what?
that number. I can tell you, you're gonna be happy with this. I have it for my meeting here. Right now for 2020, page 21, we're at 99.445%.
Wow.
Wow, that's great.
99.445. So we've never had those numbers.
Right.
Just to put it in perspective, how many parcels does that non-collection represent? I mean, it can't be very many.
Non-collection, we're at 88,969. So how many parcels? I don't know.
Wow.
I don't know. But we're down to 88,969
Wow.
that's due yet.
Yeah. And
So
which we'll probably never see.
some of it we will never see. We never get 100%. Rex, you never got 100, I'm sure.
No, that's the highest. 99, I think, is the highest we probably have ever had.
So as of this morning, 99.445% collected.
You're probably about number one in the state.
Well, we were in the top 5 all year long, and I haven't seen the numbers yet for this last week. But yeah, we gotta be on the list anyway.
Oh, absolutely. Yep. Well, gentlemen, anything else you need to cover with Ed?
I don't know that I do. Like I say, that was a morning of good news.
If not, I'll take a motion to adjourn then.
So moved.
Second.
Okay, got a second? Motion made. We are adjourned.
I
Thanks a lot,
don't know
Ed.
how much business you have for commissioners today, but the sooner I could get you guys to address this contract for VPS,
Oh,
the
so you
sooner I
get
can get upstairs with the training.
Okay.
So,
Yeah.
how you feeling, Rex?
I feel good, thank you.
Good.
Oh, Mark.
I'm just ready to get home.
Yeah,
Good.
stir crazy, I'm sure.
Oh my gosh, when you feel good and you're just sitting up here and there's nothing you can do, about getting your blood thinned down. It just drives you crazy.
Start whistling at the nurses and stuff and they'll kick you out sooner.
Yeah, keep ringing your buzzer.
Yeah, there you go. There you go. I got a party on the hour. Every hour we have a party.
Well, okay.
Oh, golly. Yeah,
Thanks, guys. I really appreciate
Yeah,
it. I really
good
appreciate
job.
they're gonna hold me open until the commissioners meeting.
Okay, sounds good. We won't talk about you until afterwards.
Yeah, keep it low keyed, would you?
What they gonna do? What he said?
He said they're gonna keep it open, keep
Oh.
the
Link.
connection open, yeah. I got an email from Mike Ainsworth. Do you think we need to respond to that public?
Send it to me.
You know, Steve, Rex and I were talking at the,
You recommend,
kind of this point last year. And he said, well, what's your expectations on taxes and stuff? And I go, well, the goal has kind of always been 97%. And he said, well, through the COVID and all this and that, and the way things are going, he said, if we could get
it wasn't
5% or even 93%, we ought to be happy. But to finish up at 99.5, that's, I mean, that's
Excellent.
incredible. One of the things that the girls do that is over and above what we need to do by statute is they send these courtesy letters after the fall collection, and it goes delinquent 30 days, and then it goes to the 10%. We send out letters to everybody who's delinquent at that time. Sometimes they just forget, they paid their spring, they lost their bill, it's off their mind. And they say, well, we didn't get a fall mailing. Well, we don't. We mail one time, both spring and fall. So that's part of it. We've been getting a lot of people coming in. Some people buy a house and they don't realize that they gotta pay their taxes at closing. You know, that's another reason. But we're getting a lot of those right now, so.
Now, how does that work, like, if, I know, you go out and get a mortgage, and your insurance and taxes is included in that payment, so percentage of that payment you make every month is your personal tax, or is your property taxes. Does that come right to us then, or does the bank hold that money?
It goes to an escrow company and they save it all up and usually make one payment about a week before their bill.
Oh, okay. I was just curious how that worked.
And then sometimes they have a follow-up payment, you know, for any stragglers that come in. And then they pay our property taxes to us. Then they'd also have another check that goes to the insurance, many different insurance companies. But that happens through all the different
In the
escrow,
spring and the fall, you get the check from that.
different escrow companies.
Okay, I was just curious how that worked. I didn't know if that went to the bank or.
Now, one of the things we're gonna do with this value payment system, we're gonna have an option to where somebody that's paid escrow all their life and they like that, but they paid their mortgage off, we're gonna give them the option to continue doing so on, I call it a private escrow, that they set it up with their credit card. And say you owe $12,000 a year in taxes, you can have $1,000 come out of your checking account every month. And the credit card company takes care of all that. You set it up with the credit card company. We don't have anything to do with it, but we'll get a bill from that credit card company, or we'll get a check from that credit card company.
No, that,
Okay.
That's gonna be a great option, because we've had a lot of people ask.
whatever, but I would say Bree.
These are pretty good. They're moist.
So I'll update that and then get it out.
You could use the days, come up and ask for it. You'd like that.
They're really moist. Tell her I said that.
What else?
She's not getting anymore. Or what?
All this credit card company, she literally was up on work with, I've known this
They already get their share of
And I still need to get your photograph.
That's what I.
So if you haven't come up with a photograph yet, I need to get it to the webpage.
What do you need there, Mr. Rick? Signature? You know, I charge for signatures.
That's an autograph. you charge.
That's automatic. 25th.
She wanted to shoot that.
Well, you know, anything?
Yeah.
Watch your toes, watch your toes.
Watch yourself, pal. Hey. You go
Today?
up to the office afternoon, after
He sent me a
sign, they'll show you where and what was
sitting
signed
here.
today.
He sent
A
me
few
a,
times, so we'll make a stamp.
okay.
We have one for Rex, but you're chairman now, so we need one for you. There's certain things that need stamped and filed with your name on, unless you just wanna come in every single time. Which I
Yeah, no, that's fine. I know
Go
Bruce.
see Andy or Lynn, they know what to do.
Hey, Ed, do you wanna go on
That's
before
really what I
Tony,
need to
just
buy
to
a
get out of
skip
here?
I don't wanna mess your agenda up too much, but if you can, I'd sure appreciate it.
And let's keep in mind, I have to get to Indianapolis as soon as the meeting's over
I'll get out of your hair.
for the
Well,
conference.
do you
When?
care if he does that?
I don't care.
Okay.
I
But
just-
you're not gonna be long, all right?
No,
I mean, if possible, I'd like
that's
to,
kinda up to you guys.
I'd like it to be as short as possible, because I gotta.
We
drive
took
to
that auto
Indianapolis for
renewal
conference.
provision out of that contract.
I'm
Yes,
hoping this
yes,
lasts till
yes,
2:30.
You know you did.
Of course you won't compliment her, right?
Well, you'll be taking your own damn notes.
Boy, test the auditor today, I'm
Yeah.
telling you.
You might be the only one.
Well, they're all already down there.
Oh, they are?
Well,
Why didn't you go and have one of the girls come down here?
because Christie's out sick, it's only Angie and Lynn up there.
Oh.
Bree and Shannon went down there, Yvette's down there, Tom's down there.
Oh, yeah, they asked me if I was going, and I
Dan
said no.
Mailer's down there, but I said, I'm gonna cover the commissioner's meeting and then I'll drive there. So,
We ought to be done
well, I don't know what.
11:30.
I didn't have a lot on the actual agenda, so it just
Yeah.
depends on what people bring.
I'd say 11:30, we ought to be done.
Yeah, it just depends on what they bring that I don't know about. I don't know what Brad has.
Awesome. I might get home early today then.
Well, Shannon won't be here to keep after.
I know it. That's what I said. I might get home early today.
Good for you. Thank you.
Did I raise a,
Looking everything over. I do have letters back and forth from that Jeff Kerr.
did I raise a hornet's
I mean,
nest?
that I'm just keeping that
Yep.
Did I raise a hornet's nest?
basically geocaching.
Okay, why did a private company come and plow the snow and not the town?
We couldn't find the town truck. He couldn't
That's
find
like-
the place. He saw this guy doing Burn belongs memorials. He stopped and he was asking, he said,
Post office, something.
as a favor, he said, you can't pay anything. He says, but as a favor, up in Coogan, and he dropped a blade.
Shit, I gotta drive down to Indiana.
I said, you know what I have to do. Everybody's house.
It's
They will
associated
do
with
something
that.
for you.
I bet that makes sense. Did they get a hold of Kurt and them, and why they were riding around together? And
That's the biggest
Governor and all those guys, I've seen them several times, know what they're gonna say,
yeah,
so.
Don't put in.
Tony, on this contract, if they go
They're
ahead
gonna
and
allow
approve
it?
it today, which I hope they do, you can sign it for Rex and initial it. Cause I need to get that
This
even.
would be, remote, yeah. Or you
know.
know, anybody. As long as
Did they
he
mention that?
votes in the affirmative, it'll be a remote, you just sign his name.
Okay, so I'll do
And
that.
I had Julie Marie check on that.
Oh, I know, I thought that.
So,
Okay. He's gonna be, coming home tomorrow.
You know, and it's,
He's gonna come home tomorrow.
it wasn't that big.
He is jumping up and down.
Do your job.
well, I
That's
definitely
what
jump
you
up and
paid
down.
for.
But I get your meeting. Can you sign that stand?
Yeah, there was no traffic, so get it cleaned up for there.
We had a credit.
Yes.
Just right here? Yeah, yeah, I guess, I don't have your stamp, so I couldn't sign.
That church was open and they was walking through snow and everything
We
else.
can, Bree at some point might set you up so we can always sign.
I know, I need to do one, don't I?
Your name on the claim.
I'm sure she's done
Oh,
it.
I know it.
Cause like when I did a mileage claim,
It was? Yeah, but I bet the town employees aren't happy with it.
You, where she does sign here, and it has your name on there somewhere.
Oh, I'm sure they do,
They have you,
cause
the actual
Doug
stamp.
yeah, I
Bessie
can stop
was
it.
sitting right there. And he
That's,
got a
that's
phone
what I
call.
think Andy was talking about.
When I was.
Okay, it's 10 o'clock, we can go ahead and get started. One of the first things we want to look at is our minutes from the January 11th meeting. So Rex, you okay? Can you hear us all right?
I can hear you okay, yes, and I read through them, Stan. I didn't have a problem with them.
I didn't either.
Okay,
It's okay.
all right.
I'll make a motion to accept them as they've been presented.
Second.
Okay, motion carries. Thank you. Okay, we're gonna switch up the agenda just a little bit. I'm gonna invite Ed Dyer, the treasurer, to come on up for a report.
Good morning, gentlemen. Thank you very much, commissioners and Stan, for getting me up here. The reason being, we have our Xsoft training starting upstairs right now, and I want to get up there as quick as we can. Several months ago, I brought before you a proposal from Value Payment Systems out of Brentwood, Tennessee. They are a credit card vendor, and they offer a lot of services, more so than our current eGov provider does. eGov had us in a auto renewal clause that we at the time could not get out of. You folks already approved this value payment system, but I had to work since September to get out of the clause with eGov. The reason I was able to get out of them is because they cannot provide the added services that I need for this next year. And I gave them every opportunity to do so. They said they could, they said they would, and when it comes up to crunch time, they can't. Maybe somewhere down the road they can, and perhaps we could talk with them, a few years down the road. But today, I have the Value Payment Systems. It's a contract that we already talked about several months ago. You gentlemen have already approved it, but if you'd like to go through it again, we can. Or nothing's changed. It's actually, these are the same pieces of paper that I had back then. But Mark has looked it over. Everything's in good shape. This is at zero cost to Adams County. They charge 2.49% for anybody that uses plastic of any sort to pay their property taxes, and $1.50 for an e-check if they choose to do it that way. They are going to give us increased services. They're going to give us kiosks, little portable kiosk things at the counter. I think you're going to find that it's a very good partner to be with. They do it all over the country. They're a leader in this type of services. But we had to get out of eGov before we could utilize them. So.
Well, much appreciated. It's not often we can add additional services for our county residents without adding additional cost.
If you gentlemen would like to go through it, I'm more than happy to do so.
Just need a motion to approve the contract and have you sign there and Steve right there.
I'll take this one. What's that?
Just additional copies.
Okay, well, if you want to go through and just date it here. It's gonna be
Okay.
dated here on the first page and then dated here where they sign.
Okay.
You already signed it?
Yeah.
You need a motion
Motion
for.
and second it, yeah.
Yeah, did Steve make a motion on that?
Not yet, Rex.
Oh, okay.
You want to make the motion?
Yeah, I'll go ahead and make a motion if we go ahead and sign that contract to, that we had already agreed to.
Second.
Okay, motion carries. Thank you, Rex.
Thank you, gentlemen.
After you get it signed, just get one to Tony.
Rex, since I have to email this to Tennessee today, I'm gonna go ahead and sign your name via remote, okay?
All right, yeah, that's fine.
Okay.
Yep.
I've got a blank check that I want to do the same thing with. Is that okay, Rex?
Yeah, go right ahead. Yeah, it'll be covered.
All right. Brad, you want some?
Sure.
Brad too. Okay.
Oh, yeah, well, good. More the
You
merrier.
might need a few things too.
So there's
Don't
Hey,
worry
we'll have
about
a
the date's
party.
gonna be on it,
So we
we'll
gotta start
take care of it.
four
We're
different
gonna
ones.
have a party.
Till you get back, you're gonna be surprised with all you bought.
I know Rick needs several things.
Hey, I
I'm sure
love
Brad could use
surprises.
some equipment.
You signed that one already.
Yeah, that one.
Yeah.
You might be repairing a few bridges or something.
There you go.
Well, that's a little bit heavy for me.
Hey, the attorney fees is what it might
25th?
cost him though.
Yes.
I'm gonna have to have Mark sign off.
Hey, maybe he needs something too.
Oh, sure, Mark could probably use something. There's a lot of copies down here.
I think you gentlemen will be very pleased with the increased options we're going to have, and I've vetted this company quite extensively, and I'm happy, everybody that uses them is happy.
Hey, appreciate your work on that, Ed. Thanks a lot.
Oh, mine all signed. Yep.
You just drop one off to Angie up there if you want for us.
Yep. I need to change those dates and stuff, as Mark asked, so. And then just for the record for your commissioners meeting, as of this morning, our collections for 2020, pay 21 is at 99.445%.
99 what?
99.445%. I don't know if that's number one in the state, but it has to be on the list. So I'm extremely happy with it. Exalt training starts right now. I have L&D Meal Masters training starting Thursday. Thank you, gentlemen. That's all I got.
Well, very good work. Thanks for your work, Ed.
Thank you, sir. Thank you both. Thank you, Rex. See you
Thanks
tomorrow.
a lot,
Good
Ed.
call.
Appreciate it.
Okay. Well, thanks, Tony, for letting us slip him in there.
That's fine.
Value payment systems. So if you'd like to go ahead.
Alright. So the first thing is, just as a matter of record, Dan Hackman brought in his weights and measures report, but there were no inspection activities during the period. So you're just entering into record that he presented his report. I think there was some illness and stuff during that time or something that's going around the county, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
Okay.
that would just be, is that correct, Mark? Just putting it as a matter of
So
record?
we'll enter that as a no, or.
Yeah, we would need a
his report
motion.
with no activity.
Correct.
Okay,
I'll make the motion.
all right.
Okay.
I'll second.
All right, motion carries. Hopefully he's better.
Yeah, he is. Yep, okay. Next is the payroll AP claims, which, as I've said over and over, this is something that the State Board of Accounts said they wanted to see. So we printed out for the commissioners. It's, you know, the benefits and
Yeah.
perf and all that stuff.
No,
That
no.
is in the amount of $289,800. $289,800 even. And those numbers you can see listed on here, but it's that report that, those numbers have always been there. The state board had never asked for them before, but we print them out now so that when they come and audit us again, we can show in the minutes that we presented them to the commissioners.
So the biggest part of that dollar figure, Tony, is gonna be payroll taxes.
Yep. Yep. You got
I'll make a
payroll
motion
taxes,
to-
perf and everything.
Yeah, I'll make a motion to go ahead for,
Okay, motion carries.
All right, and then the last thing I have is the Allied weekly insurance claims. And there are two reports attached to this one, because if you remember last week, there was a credit So I attached that credit one to this one. So this week is using that credit to give us an overall amount of $11,785.37. And this was both pharmacy and medical. But after the credit, it's down to $11,785.37. Rex, did you want to hear the breakdown of the medical and pharmacy, or?
Yeah, Tony, go ahead and give that if you would, please.
Okay. The medical part was $28,511.79. $28,511.79, that was medical. And then we had pharmacy of $26,022.39. $26,022.39. The total adjustments with carryover credit and stop loss reimbursement was $42,748.81. $42,748.81, which brings it to a total on the claim of the $11,785.37.
Okay, I'll make a motion. Yeah, Stan? I'll
Okay.
make a motion to approve the net amount of $11,785.37 to Allied.
That's 83.37, yeah. Okay,
Second.
all right. Steve, second that, motion carries.
I don't need to sign this, just you, right?
Yeah, just Stan signs it for you to look at the
Wait,
pages and so on. No, you signed it, yeah. That's what I had to sign.
Oh.
You've been signing a lot of stuff this morning, huh? And that is all that I have.
Okay, thank you, Tony. County engineer.
Acting engineer.
I use, yeah, acting
Acting-
engineer.
acting engineer.
I use that term loosely when we got a real engineer. So. He might take offense at that.
Yeah, yep. Well, good morning.
Good morning.
Morning.
Just have a couple permits today. The first one, they're both Indiana and Michigan, just at different locations. The first one is on 500 East between 1 and 200 South. All they're doing is replacing a damaged pole.
Oh, okay.
Both of these are pretty simple, it's nothing major. Can I just go ahead and do both of them?
Yeah, you
Alright. And the second one is on County Road 650 West between 900 and 1000 South. All they're doing, the residence was bought by somebody that doesn't need electricity, so they're removing the pole at their house and taking the transformer off the pole across the road. And that's it.
Could I get just the front page
Yep.
left on my desk up there, sir?
Yep,
All
I will
right.
do
I'll
that.
make a motion.
Okay. Got a motion?
Okay, second.
All right. Motion carries.
Other than that, guys are out, hitting the roads, trying to get her cleaned up. It's the mess we had yesterday, snow, a little freezing rain, more snow, but they're out working on them. That's a lot of what's going on, of course, with the cold. We're actually doing some remodeling, if you want to call it that, in our office, giving it a fresh coat of paint. So it's a good time of year for that.
Did you pick out the color?
No, I did not. I did not. I made that very clear when we started. I'm letting the ladies in the office pick out
So
the
it's
color.
not gonna be a masking one.
You need the date on here.
Yes, if you would, please. No, it's not gonna be, it looks, I was
Flowery.
told it's pretty.
Oh, gosh.
So as far as plowing, you started plowing this morning?
They actually
Or
went out,
yesterday morning.
well, we didn't start yesterday morning just for the fact of the timing of it. It didn't come till, what was it, 8, 9 o'clock.
Yeah.
And we didn't go out till after lunch, actually, just for the fact that it didn't get done till then it
It was
started
still
that freezing rain. Then, so the guys went out and worked till, they were back in at 3 and got up this morning, we were right back out again, so,
Okay.
yeah.
Well, we appreciate the sand and plow both.
Thank you.
When did you address Sunday storm? When did you guys start running out?
Sunday storm. Oh, we didn't go out till yesterday. Yeah.
There was more snow up this way.
And that's, yeah, because we only had maybe a couple inches down south at the most, and they had some more up north. Yeah, we didn't go out till yesterday. Yep. So that's,
Just a quick question, and I had, one of the volunteer firemen approach me about, if there was any ordinance concerning reflective address signs. And there is no ordinance, to require reflective address signs. But, he was really wanting to emphasize the importance of that. Do you deal with that, or is that strictly the fire department, or who?
no, we don't deal with it. So I don't know if that's a homeowner, you know, if that's their responsibility or.
It would be a homeowner's responsibility.
Yes, but no, and I'll admit, you know, the more, when you drive around, there's a lot of places that they don't have them.
Yeah. So I didn't know if that was any in your
No.
wheelhouse at all, but I know he, as a Monroe fireman, was really emphasizing the importance for emergency
Yes.
services response.
So yeah, that's actually a good point to get out to the media.
Yeah,
Make sure your houses, properties have addresses and they are visible.
yeah.
There's a lot of times when you go, takes a while to find them. You know, it's nice if they're out on the mailbox, that's really handy, but yeah, that is a good safety message.
Yeah.
And there again, I'll do another one too, you know, reminder, don't put your snow on the road. You know, keep it off the sides so it doesn't create a problem there. And we just appreciate everybody's patience with us getting out and taking care of them.
Okay.
And next week it'll all melt off and be gone.
So as far as the signs, those are through the fire department.
Yeah, that's,
I don't know that they're through anybody.
I don't know,
think
yeah, I
you
don't know that it's actually
can- I don't
through
think there's
anybody.
an ordinance
but
requiring, you just have to
There is
ask.
no ordinance, but if you
Yeah.
want them, they will order them for you.
That I'm not sure.
That I don't know.
Okay. Do you
Yeah,
remember
What's that?
if the Monroe Fire Department had reflective address signs could order? Yeah.
I don't know.
I think that's probably gonna be up to, you know, I know our fire department, we've never done anything like that or never dealt with that, so.
Okay.
It's probably each individual up to the department, I would guess, if they wanna do something like that.
They want to order those for all the residences in Monroe?
Well, no, it was just a Monroe fireman that called me and asked me if there was any ordinance that they were required, which they're not. But I was under the understanding that they would be available through Monroe Fire Department. So,
No idea.
okay. All right. Well, like I say, that's the only reason I brought it up.
Yeah.
I didn't know.
Good safety announcement, though.
So, all right, sorry.
I got my county engineer reports on snow removal.
Acting engineer,
Practicing engineer.
practicing, whatever, I'm not engineer. I'm overseeing it, so.
Didn't even sleep at a Holiday Inn last night. All right. Any other questions for Brad? Nope. Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. All right, Rick. Building maintenance.
Hello, gentlemen.
Good morning.
Rex, I hope all is well.
Yep, everything's good. Thank you.
Good. Well, unlike Brad, we were removing snow on Sunday, yesterday at 5 a.m. and 2 p.m. 3. I'm just teasing you, Brad. Anyway, we were battling the elements of weather, salting and things. In case you didn't know, the sewer district's drop-off box is installed.
I saw it out there. Looks good.
Yeah, I think so too.
Yeah.
It's all installed and that was very good. I think it fits and it looks good. And
Hopefully that'll make it easier for everyone.
I think it will. I really do.
Now, at this point, the sewer district is the only one that's gonna be using it.
Yes, period. They're the only ones. There was an offer for the possible treasurer to use it. Ed didn't want to, at least at this point in time. So the sewer district is the only one using that box.
Okay.
And it is labeled as that. So, and there's a sign.
A very nice sign.
Yes, it is. Did you do it, Brad?
Yeah, we did it.
Thanks. It looks good too.
Did you put reflective?
It's a reflective background or something.
Okay, good. There you go.
Anyway, that's accomplished good. I thought they did a great job with that. I just did this, and the only reason why I'm gonna kind of present it to you is just because of increase of cost on everything. Maybe sometimes this don't really get sought out or looked at. We order supplies basically every pay period, every 2 weeks. And what I mean by supplies is paper towels, toilet paper, trash bags, and there's others, but just in that alone, we spend approximately $258 somewhere in there every 2 weeks to accommodate the 3 buildings. When you put that per month, it's $517.06. Per year, it's $6,204. You divide that between the 3 buildings, it's $2,068. Now that's excluding toilet bowl cleaner, air fresheners, hand sanitizer, gloves, wax bags, soap for the bathrooms, foam for the hallways, and our chemical solutions as far as mopping, disinfecting. That's not in that number. I'm just bringing it up to you, just presenting it to you, just because, and those prices are going up. That's that. I just wanted to make you aware of what it actually costs just to function as of last year and up to now, what it cost.
Have paper supplies gone up the most, or what has gone up? Or what are
Actually,
you seeing, I guess, as far as changes?
It's all going up. I see more TP, paper towels.
If you can find it.
Yeah, if you can find it. And you know what? I've kind of looked, it's kind of a tedious thing. I don't know if I want to go away from who is supplying us. They kind of know what we use. We've been with them, so they keep us supplied.
Right.
And the prices aren't very much different anywhere else anyway. You might get a onesie or twosie thing. And I'm sure it's like that in a restaurant, Steve. Things are just up and up and up and up.
So are any of these increases unexpected that might take you over your budget for that,
Well,
for those supplies?
and that's why I did what I did here. I want to really look that over, and I'm going to have a talk with who we do supply. Look, we got to keep this in this parameter if possible. I don't want to exceed this, so it'll be close, Stan. It'll be close.
Okay.
Anyway,
Well, that way we won't get caught off guard, I guess.
yeah. So that's that. Unless you gentlemen have anything. Mark can maybe explain more on that, but Mark did talk to the gentleman that we were gonna meet with. about
Yeah,
the
that's
children.
what I was gonna ask you guys, how that is coming along. But
Yeah, I met with him last week, and so we've got 2 separate agreements, and his recommendation is, and I agree, that we want to do the chiller replacement project as a standalone project, and then the update to the control systems is also separate, because they're really two different things, and it, in all likelihood, may involve 2 different vendors, and I think it makes sense to do that, to try to make sure that we get the best, like, we get what we want
so
on the
he would
controls.
write specs for both of them.
Right, so the agreement that I have for the chiller replacement project then, and I've reviewed it, made some changes to it. Scope of work is that this is for him to prepare the specifications, and he'll work with us on getting the bid documents together, out to bid for the replacement of the 2 65-ton chillers for this building, and 25 UV lighting systems for the air handlers, and that should provide air purification then for this building. And so we've got funds appropriated out of ARP funds for this project, and the fee for this is Core Facilities for that work is $22,800, and we get this approved, and then we can get the bid documents together, and like to get it out to bid as soon as we can, because we'll have some lead time on getting that equipment.
Is that for the 22.8, is that for both or just the chillers?
That's just for the chillers. The air handler, scope of services is just time and materials not to exceed $5,000 while we investigate that and see what systems we have and what we can use. Because we want to have a system that's open protocol, software and controls so that you can control this building and that building. And he'll need to look at, actuators and what we're doing now. Are we just turning things on and off, or do you actually have the ability to control temperature?
Well, I have to go over there and do that manually, but it would be more efficient, more.
Right. The idea is to bring that under control of one software platform that you can control it remotely or here. Or
And a universal system where we won't be held hostage, just
Yeah.
to one, multiple companies could work on it.
I wonder if a control like that would also have alerts if something wasn't functioning correctly.
I think it does.
It does.
That'd be great for you. I
It'll
mean,
come right in, yep.
if you were to be able to remotely.
IT would receive it and so will I with anything, just like the rooms, the DMARC rooms. Something goes down with that, that's immediately.
Oh, that would involve the server room and DMARC room?
Yes.
Wow,
Yes.
that's pretty neat.
So gentlemen, do you have any questions, I guess, on the chiller replacement project, specifications and services for getting those together and getting this out to bid?
I assume we need a vote on that motion.
Rex, do you have any questions on that?
No, you need a motion to approve the 22,800 mark.
Yes, for the chiller replacement project.
Okay, I'll go ahead and make that motion.
Second.
Okay, motion carries.
All right, so I'll send that down. Signature.
Thank you, Rick and Mark, for working that out, because I know there was a little bit of time in negotiating that.
Yep.
that,
I'll send that down.
agreement.
Signature is right there on that page. I think it just needs your signature, Stan, as chairman.
I don't need to sign that, do
Well, I'll probably have you sign underneath there. And the second one was on the building automation system controls, and that is, scope on that is $5,000 not to exceed, to investigate the type of control systems and put together a scope of work and budget for that. Now, when we go to actually do the control bids, we may be able to do that by RFP, request for proposal, because we expect that's gonna be a less expensive project. So we may have some more cost involved when we go to that stage, but this gives us the ability to figure out what we want instead of just throwing a number at it and then finding out that it doesn't need to be that involved.
Right.
Do we have did he give us a time frame to get specs ready?
I talked to him, I said we'd want to go out to bid here in February, so he knows that.
You need a motion on the $5,000
Yep.
portion of that?
So moved.
Yeah, that's not to exceed 5,000.
That's correct.
Yeah. So we got a motion from Steve.
I'll second that.
Okay, motion carries.
Slate that thing out.
There you
All right. Thank you, gentlemen.
go. Yeah, we'll get that out.
Hey, I got a question, Stan. I got a question for Mark. Mark, on the work that you're doing on these type of things, that comes under the ARP funds also, right?
Yes,
Okay, have we approved anything for you yet?
the council approved appropriation of those funds for this project.
Okay, did that include your fees? Did it? Did you get that included?
That would include the fees for the specifications and bidding and
Well, but
These
wasn't there a
services.
separate approval for fees for you and
For
Julie?
legal?
You and Julie Marie?
I believe there was, yeah.
Yeah.
There was.
So I just have to
All
make
right,
sure I bill it that way.
Right, I wanted to be sure that was covered.
I believe it is.
Okay.
Do you anticipate, using, the same company to write specs for the generator and electric updates?
Well, we just kind of want to see how this goes, and if you guys are pleased with how they perform for this, then you can get a quote for them to do the generator.
Okay.
I kinda like that. Let's see how this goes with them.
Yeah. Okay,
Because you have money appropriated for that also.
Right.
okay. Very good. Yeah, it's good to see that move ahead, and maybe by this summer we'll have air conditioning.
Yes. Yeah.
A reliable air conditioning.
With 2 chillers instead of 1, yeah.
All right. That's all I have, gentlemen.
Okay.
Okay.
Rex, anything else for Rick while he's here?
No, I do not. Thanks, Rick.
All right, very good.
You'll hand me those contracts, Stan, and I'll have Tony sign, and I'll make sure we get them scanned and sent back.
Okay. We don't have Mark Wynn here yet.
I don't know if he had anything.
Looks like a Chad Hershey subdivision.
That was last week.
Okay. And Shannon Green is.
She is at the conference.
Okay.
The report there.
Mark, do you have anything else you'd like to?
Reviewed the, upcoming review for your seated ordinance and Bree. I'm gonna scan them both and send them out. And Bree sent that, I think, to me last week, so I need to update your seated ordinance at least with what we have now, and then I'll send it out to all 3 of you, take a look at it, how it's broke down as far as spending, and then you guys can, gentlemen can decide if you wanna make any changes in your spending plan.
Yeah, she sent it to me too, so that was nice.
So basically, the way seated operates, years ago, when that was put into place, county economic development income tax was adopted at the same time you adopted the county option income tax. The option income tax offsets tax revenues for county general. Economic development revenues, though, is under the purview of the commissioners to be used for economic development projects. Then a few years later, the State Board of Accounts said that even though the commissioners they designate the projects and the amount of money they want to spend on those projects, and they prioritize that spending schedule, the county council still has to appropriate the funds to be spent. And so we've done that. Then every 2 years, you're supposed to adopt a spending plan. The spending plan is a 2-year plan. It has to be, you're not supposed to adopt a 1-year plan. It's supposed to be a plan that it's at least a 2-year plan. And you're supposed to plan projects that will spend at least 75% of the revenues you anticipate bringing in. As a historical matter, the commissioners had spent more than that. They spent most of it, and usually on that budget, you've got funding for Adams County Economic Development in a percentage. You've got funding for Northeast Indiana Regional Coordinating Council. That's a regional development group. And so you spend some, it's not a lot, but it's some, and because you're a member of that organization. And then there's some in there, I think, for sewer district, for project development and administrative support. And then the rest is traditionally has been spent by the commissioners on road improvements, whatever's left. And I think traditionally that's been $700,000-800,000, and that neighborhood goes towards Adams County road improvement projects. Now, you can take a look at that. You may continue to do that. You can use those funds for really anything else that's economic development related. A separate portion of the CEDAT, so the CEDAT that it gets received by the county is I believe it's 0.04%. Does that sound right, Tony? It's 0.4% is what it is. 2% of that goes to the county and the cities and towns. And so that's already broken down. The county portion comes to the county, portion for cities and towns goes to them. And I think that's paid out monthly. The other 0.2% was adopted and pledged by the county and the cities and towns towards the bond repayment for the hospital. That's been in place since the hospital was constructed, and that amount goes to the hospital. It goes to the hospital bond escrow agent, and they apply it to the debt service. So it doesn't go to the hospital in the sense that they can spend it on what they want to. It goes directly to pay off the bonds on the hospital. And so that's been in place, and that's irrevocable. You can't revoke it, you can't change it until the bonds are paid for. I think last year the hospital paid back some of that money to the county, and I think they've talked about doing that again this year, but I don't know the exact amounts. But that's up to the hospital board of trustees. Do you have any questions on that?
Well, once we get, so you're gonna take a look at that and revise that schedule, and then we'll have an opportunity for discussion.
Yep.
Next week or.
Yep, and then, yeah, probably next week, you can take a look at it.
Okay. So, all right.
So, and now the confusing thing now is it's all falls under local income tax is how they categorize it now, but it's still, the economic development portion of that still retains a separate identity in your funds anyway.
Okay.
So something else to think about. State Board of Accounts, actually, our office didn't even receive notification. We heard from a township and the library wanting information regarding tax abatements and so forth, and we didn't know what in the world they were talking about. Well, the state, and I'm assuming it has to do with the personal business property tax in some way, because they are talking about reducing that or getting rid of that, which Mayor Decatur had asked that we find out, because the mayors in the state were, I guess, going up against it, or whatever you want to say. It will affect this county if they do away with that, about $5 million, including cities and county and everything else. So State Board of Accounts is requiring us to enter into Gateway, and we have to do it by hand because they didn't make it so you could upload it. They're working on that for next year, they said, but I'm sure they're getting a lot of grief from a lot of counties, especially like Allen and some of the bigger ones. But I literally had to input by hand 2 direct abatements that affects the county, and I think there were 30 or so indirect abatements that affect the different cities. And the reason I'm bringing that up is I think somebody is trying to see and prove how much could be gained or lost. The bad thing is they're not talking about, it's kind of an unfunded thing. They're not talking about replacing those revenues, which, Mark, would mean increasing property taxes and everything else to make up those differences. And they're getting a lot of pushback from the counties, including Association of Indiana Counties. And I'm sure the conference I'm going to later today and then tomorrow, that is going to come up, which is one reason I wanted to be there, to hear exactly where that's at and what they're saying, because that will definitely affect us. So just wanted to throw that out there and make you all aware that.
I wonder if they'd actually take action on that this year since it's not a budget, or whether they're just.
It's on the governor's agenda, and I don't know, while I'm down there tomorrow, I will speak to Matt and anybody else that I see down there and ask them where that's at to see what their, just because it's on the governor's agenda doesn't necessarily mean that it's going to get through. It just depends on how much grief they're getting on some of this, but I'll see if I can find out where that's at currently and when they would expect, if that would happen. They tried to do that before and did not do it because they got so much pushback from not only counties, but also schools and libraries and townships. All of them, they would all be affected as well. Anybody that gets money from that. So I'll try to pay attention down there and ask a few questions and report back and see what they're saying, but I wanted to bring it to y'all's attention that it's out there.
Well, hopefully they'll take a good long look at it, evaluate the direct losses and indirect losses that would be realized to county revenue.
So I'll see what I can find out and get back to you on that.
Yeah. Well, thanks for going down there and paying attention to that.
Yeah, here's a kind of an article discussing it put out by Baker Tilly, which, as you know, are the public finance accountants, and so they should be keenly aware of how this would impact budgets. And it just says here that according to the 2021 abstracts for Indiana counties, approximately 14.9% of Indiana's total property tax base comes from business personal property assessed value. So I don't know how that's statewide. I don't know how that plays out for Adams County.
Yeah, Christie did a summary of that we sent over to Mayor Rickard, and I'd have her bring that down, but she's out today. But I can have her get that again and email it to all of you. She has the direct effect on Adams County and all the units in the county, so I'll have her, when she gets back, email that to all of you guys and to Mark. So, plus I still have it. I might still have it up there that I can find. So.
It says,
I'll get it.
while there is a discussion of legislative changes that would see the number reduced significantly or even eliminated entirely, referring to the personal property tax, the result would be that doing so, holding other factors constant, would place an upward pressure on property tax rates, which would impact non-business personal property taxpayers and potentially increase local government units' revenue losses due to the circuit breaker tax credit.
The governor was talking about phasing it out by 2026 and starting with a 30% depreciation. But, I mean, again, it has to go through committee, then it has to go through either the House
Well,
or Senate. then-
they've kind of been phasing out parts of it for years, haven't they?
Well, they've been phasing out certain things.
I mean, as far as.
It seems like every election year,
They increased
they're
exemption.
trying to help themselves and hurt us. No offense. A little
What they
bit.
did was they increased the exemption they went from $20,000 exemption, and then they went up to 40,000.
Correct,
So, yeah, they're,
yeah.
it makes them,
But that wasn't just for business personal property tax, it was for all personal property, wasn't it? Or was that?
That
for
was,
just-
how the
well,
tax tax
that-
came about.
yeah,
too.
that's all, that was all, everybody that filed a 103 or 104. If you had under $20,000, you didn't pay any personal property. Now it's up to 40,000.
Yeah.
So,
States here, and this is true, we've said it before, and I think I've made the statement that our tax system is like the fluid dynamics. It's kind of the fluid dynamics property of taxation, and that is when you increase one thing, something else can be decreased. If you decrease one area, then that puts pressure on the system to increase it somewhere else. And that's exactly what they're saying. It says Indiana's property tax system consists of many interconnected components, and a change to one component can impact the full system. Reductions in the property taxes for some taxpayers may cause corresponding increases for other taxpayers if a unit needs to maintain the same level of funding for services and capital needs. It's also important to note that these impacts will not be at the same level in each county or even each taxing district, giving the unique compositions of each unit. That's exactly true. So,
Yep.
it's no different than everybody's individual budget. If you cut revenue out one place and your spending stays the same, you got to increase revenue somewhere else. Otherwise, you've got a deficit. So
I had sent this out to all the council members when we figured out how much that was going to affect. And I let the council know that sometimes when you cut taxes and you don't think of, you're just doing it to cut, you're not realizing how you are affecting other, in this case, every unit in the county would be affected. And the very fact that the state is cutting that tax means other taxes will go up. You can't
Right.
just cut taxes.
well, it's a politically popular thing to say, is to do and say, is to say, we're gonna cut taxes. But unless you cut spending, then you're gonna have, if you cut the taxes, then you're gonna have to cut services.
Gotta
That's
cut
just
some-
the
yeah.
nature of it.
Services and people, that's the only thing you can cut.
And that's why years ago, when they came through with sweeping property tax change legislation, and they put caps on property tax and the assessment max levy limitations, then the legislature came along and said, well, you can still raise revenue, but you do it now through income taxes. And so that's when the counties back in 94, most of them were required, that's when Adams County did it, I believe, had to pass an income tax. That was your county option income tax. And that's when that was put in place, because the changes to the property tax assessment mechanism meant that the counties were going to have significantly less revenue in order to fund their general fund and operations. So they were forced into having to adopt income taxes to replace that revenue lost by property tax.
It was
This is the
thing with
same
the wheel
scenario.
tax. The wheel tax was the same way, Mark, and you and Stan will remember, because we served when we had to do that, and the state was saying, hey, I think it was Doug that went down there many times, or called them many times, about funding for roads and so forth, and was told every single time, are you doing everything in your power to help yourself? In other words, you're not getting anything unless you adopt a wheel tax, because you don't have one. Remember that, Stan? So we had to adopt a wheel
I
tax.
bought license plates in Ohio, now I'm buying license plates in Indiana.
Yeah, so that's just kind of the way it
Guess how
works.
much higher my property tax was in Ohio?
In Ohio? I don't know.
I had quite a bit, because the license plates are cheap.
Okay, but your property taxes are higher.
Yeah, it's coming from the property tax.
Yep,
Anyway, it's all,
it's a shell game.
I was just about to say that.
Gene, sell me a Coke.
Well, and part of the shell game, I think, is obviously between the state and the counties themselves. And the state obviously wants to put on a good business-friendly environment to attract businesses to Indiana. But part of the problem is there's so much differences in the priorities in the counties and what they expect between Lake County and Marion County and Adams County. There's big differences in
Some are more
how we
conservative.
respond to that business environment, and some of those counties get much more advantage from that business environment than what
People
Adams
in
County
Ohio would
does.
say, I'm not moving to Indiana because I'm not paying that much for my license plates on my car. It costs so much more.
Yeah, we don't need a lot of more Buckeye fans over here anyway, so.
But, you know, one of the things
Every
that,
so often, Tony, I make a mistake and wear this to Becky's restaurant in Wilshire.
you know, so the state, you know, wants to create that
Yeah.
tax-friendly environment more and more, and they have looked at the business personal property tax as a way to do that without giving the counties a good way to replace that income. But, you know, just like with the prison system, when state DOC centers were overcrowded, they determined that all level 6 felonies should go to the counties. Well, now when you talk to county commissioners across the state, many of them are having to build new jails because they're having to house the level 6 felonies
And now they're gonna
that
send it
were,
back to prison again.
that were previously going to state
I
institutions.
was
So
just caught up. on what
it's
they
just
were
kind of
saying.
passing.
It's gotta come from somewhere.
But now I think the state does have a bill that they're considering giving the judges an option to send level 6 felons back to DOC. But I don't know where that's at or what that's going to
And
be.
that could affect community corrections and everything else, because they wouldn't get as many, it just, like Mark said, it's all a shell game.
It goes back, it's the fluid dynamics of taxation.
You should
Unless,
coin that phrase.
unless you cut spending, if you cut one tax, it's gonna crop up somewhere else. It has
I might
to.
wanna use that down at the conference. What was that again? Fluid, say that
The
again?
fluid dynamics of taxation.
Can't remember that.
But that's one of the things when we were getting ready to build the jail several years ago, Baker Tilly really worked with us to be able to service the bond issue on that jail without raising property taxes, and we did it with the public safety Lowit, which actually, when we instituted that, it actually decreased property taxes a little bit. But that put more of a shared burden on the employees rather than property taxes. So, but it's currently servicing the bond for the jail.
Well, anybody that does their own taxes or pays attention when your taxes are done and you look at the bottom line on your Indiana tax return, you'll see that after Indiana takes their percentage, there's always the local tax, and that's a significant amount. Unless you don't have any income, unless you get down to the bottom line and you're showing a loss or you're showing very little income, then it doesn't affect much. But if there's income, that amount is significant.
I didn't mean to get us off on a tangent or anything, but I just want to bring it to your attention, and I'll report back on what they are thinking and what it's looking like as far as getting into you might be right, Stan, since next year's the budget year, it may end up going in that, but I'll see what they say.
Well, it's just been such an interesting climate with the federal money coming down through the American Rescue Plan money and dealing with that, and still kind of trying to do budget projections on
Well, the House and
projects that are
Senate are
coming
not
up.
on that one down there.
So
Hey,
it's
Brad,
just,
did we appoint you as our Title VI coordinator?
The Senate
We
wants
did,
to
didn't
hold
we?
off.
All
The
right.
House wants to do a tax cut because they think it
We
might.
gotta make
be
Rex
political.
our ADA coordinator.
So,
okay. Well, yeah,
Well, Barky
I didn't mean to jump in on your.
No,
your time
that's,
here.
I thought I would, it's an important question. You need to know what they're talking about before it just gets passed and you wake up
and you
and
have to deal with
then
it.
you gotta deal with it.
But I always appreciate your perspective, especially on things like this on our economic development plan.
The next thing I have is for Rex. We have appointed, we've got two separate policies. One is the Title VI policy that we update. And we have to update that basically whenever the state looks at it and says, we want you to update that policy, that you have to have a current Title VI policy that you need in order to get federal funding and grants, and sometimes even for our highway funds, they want to see those things updated. So we've worked on that. In fact, I think we updated that recently. The next one, though, we have to update is our ADA policy, and you have to appoint an ADA compliance officer. And I can't remember, I thought we had appointed Rex in the past to do that. Rex, are you willing to be the,
Tim Barkey had been.
Tim?
Yeah, Tim was involved in that, and I was involved in something else too with that.
I think we had you as ADA compliance officer, but we need to reappoint you to that if you're willing to serve on that, in that coveted position.
That's a high-paying position. Yeah, sure, I'll take it.
Yeah,
We'll
All
double
right.
your pay of what you're not getting now, which is zero.
yeah. But I need to be able to put down the name of that individual. And that plan is being updated now, and we're gonna send it out to them for review and approval, and I'll bring it back to the Board of Commissioners for adoption. But we just need a motion to appoint Rex as our ADA compliance officer for 2022.
I'll make that motion.
Okay, I'd second that.
All right? You accept, Rex?
Yeah, I don't have much of a choice.
Well, you're in Cleveland, you can't say much right now.
Well, as much as I wanted that position, I'll
Wait a minute, I think Stan wanted it, Rex.
Hey, you're gonna get it next year, Stan.
I need, now, I don't know if, well, I have an ordinance here to approve rezoning, but I don't believe it's on the agenda, and I don't think we've gotten the notice from the Plan Commission yet, so we'll bring this back next meeting when we have their recommendation, but it is my understanding that the Plan Commission held a meeting, I think it was
Thursday.
it last Thursday?
Yes.
And approved the rezoning petition that had been filed, and so they'll be sending us a recommendation on that.
You mean on this, 2022-5? Is that what you were talking about?
Which one's that?
That's the one that we sent to them.
Oh, no, that's different. We
Oh.
sent that to them, making a recommendation to amend the text of the zoning ordinance, and they've got that, and that's gonna get scheduled for their
Next
February meeting.
Yes.
This is different. This was a rezoning petition that was filed with the Plan Commission a while back, and they had a hearing on it, I think, the last week or so. But they make a recommendation. My understanding is that they recommended that you approve the rezoning, but you'll get a written recommendation from them to that effect. So I think Tony will probably get that this week.
Oh, okay.
And we'll put it on the agenda for next week. And then the commissioners have to actually either approve it or not approve it. My guess is you would approve it just because they've had the hearing and they've recommended that it be approved. It was to rezone some land from R1 to agriculture.
Yes.
So anyway, like I said, I haven't seen that yet. We should get that this week, Tony. I would say put that on the agenda for next week is commissioners' consideration of recommendation for Plan Commission on rezoning. And we'll bring that back. I guess it's just not timely yet, but we'll consider that next week. Other than that, I think that's all I've got.
Okay. One of the things, and I don't know if I'd talked to you or not, we had a inquiry as to, helping, or financing some maintenance at the covered bridge. And from Randy Lehman, Rex, have you talked to him at all?
I left a message for him. He hasn't got back with me yet.
Okay.
But I'll follow up on that again. As he called me back, I'll call him again today.
Okay, he was asking, he's looking at the bridge and says next year Geneva will be having its sesquicentennial celebration on August 12th and 13th. A couple events are being planned. It would be nice to have the bridge looking good. We do have money in that fund, and that is specifically allocated just for the maintenance of that bridge. So,
Dan, how much money is in that fund? Was that 13,000?
Was it 14,000?
well, and I don't know if I can count that or not. Let's see.
Yeah, I think it's around, it's about 14.6.
Okay.
And Stan and I were emailing back and forth
What does he want?
with State Board of Accounts.
Money to paint the bridge.
And Stan, did you think that her
Well-
answer to that was that painting could be
Yeah,
considered maintenance?
the answer to the way I interpreted the letter from the State Board of Accounts was that's the only thing that money can be used for is maintenance of the covered bridge in the county.
Which
So,
could include painting, I think they said,
Yeah,
so.
yeah, so I would say it would be very appropriate to allocate that money as needed. Brett?
So that money, still learning this whole process. We have so much that comes into that every year.
Yeah.
Yeah, and Tim, I had talked to Tim,
You get $1,850 per bridge per year.
I had talked to Tim a while back because insurance was asking for an inspection report on the covered bridge. And Tim said that's not done very often, because it's not
Tony said we could.
used.
Yeah.
I'm not sure.
And I can't remember how often he said,
I don't know.
but it's been a while since there was an inspection.
No, we could.
I guess that's the other reason.
That's the only thing you
I'm
use
just
that
We
wondering,
need a quote first or
You
what?
know, 'cause I'm sure paint work's not gonna be cheap, but I hate to see that whole fund get wiped out too, in case something happens.
He's gonna call.
Yeah.
and see. But I,
Because if something does need repaired,
I'm saying,
That's gonna come back.
there won't be any money in it because they use it all for the painting.
But we can
It'll
count
be
that
interesting to see what
18.5 that's
paint
not
comes in at.
recorded.
Yeah,
that's what Tony said.
Okay.
So, yeah.
I don't know if Stan heard you, Brad, but you might want to say that again.
Oh,
No, I just wondered, I was asking how much comes in every year, just for the fact that if we would spend all that on painting, which it needs done, but if something would happen to the bridge then and it needs something, I just didn't know, it'll be interesting to see how much the painting costs,
when she gets back.
and what kind of agreement we come up with them. You know,
Well, Jeremy Gilbert was involved a little bit because he is, chairman of the county parks department too, so we were discussing that every year, but he sounded like he would rather have us get bids or look into it or whatever. He kinda didn't wanna have a direct,
Well, I think it's technically our bridge, correct?
Right, right.
Yeah.
It's county
Because
bridge.
they always want to get the inspections on it.
Exactly.
so yeah, Rex, once you talk to Randy Lehman and see what we need to work out there, but there is money available to
Okay.
maintain that. So
All right.
I guess with Brad, I mean, your concern is if there's something else comes up, you don't wanna,
Yeah.
Drain the
If we
funds.
would deplete the whole fund, paint it, and then something would come up that actually,
Something structural or
structural thing
whatever.
that needs fixed. We would have to come up with the money, obviously.
so, otherwise, if we didn't wanna come up with the entire amount, does the South Adams Trail System have money to maintain?
There you go,
that
that's
bridge?
what I was wondering, and I don't know how it works with the Parks Department too,
Yeah,
I don't know. That's just what I was wondering.
okay. The other question that Randy Lehman had was about the Adams County Natural Resources Conservation Service and putting together a land management plan for Fields Memorial Park and the trail and woods leading to the park. So he is wanting to put a plan like that together, so I don't know that we would have any objection to him doing that.
Does that involve some of the regional money the grant money that they got for the Northeast region? Wasn't South Adams Trails maybe a part of that or something?
He didn't say what grants are available. He just, in this email, he just says, I believe there are grants available to implement the plan.
I think that's part of the Northeast Indiana Regional, whatever that actual name was, but the state awarded them so much money for several counties and so forth, so you might want to investigate into that and see how much that can be
Where's
utilized.
those trails going to? Where did he say they were?
The fields, what they call the fields.
Yeah,
Uh,
well, and part of that, wasn't that, we traded some land? We had a park down south of Red Gold, and then Red Gold wanted some land,
Yeah,
and then so they traded us some land up by the park, by Fields Park. And actually, they kind of approved an abatement for Red Gold that was actually, Geneva did, that was actually on county land. So that was a bit of a sticky wicket. But it worked out. So, worked out to everybody's benefit.
yeah, the covered bridge is on Parks Department ground, Adams County Park,
Okay,
and then there's some Limberlost ground around it also.
so would it be best to look at a cost share with Parks Department and South Adams Trails, you think? Or what would be the best way to approach that?
I'll have to depend on what they would have budgeted, if anything, for maintenance of that bridge, I don't know.
Yeah,
I don't think the parks has anything budgeted for that.
Probably not.
I doubt that the Trails does either.
I doubt it. I think you're right, Tony. I don't think they do either.
But I also agree with Brad, you don't wanna willy-nilly just throw money at it and then
Yeah.
you might actually need it for some structural thing or something 6 months later.
Do we have, as part of our inspection, that bridge as they inspect the other bridges?
I don't
No.
think, it's not in the same, it's not in our bridge inspection cycle.
Okay,
It's its own,
Tim only did it very rarely.
yeah, it's its own separate thing.
but he actually had an engineering company that would inspect that.
And I can't remember who.
I can look up bridge inspection report and I can, email the last inspection that was done on it. Cause Tim was involved in it.
So maybe that would be a good thing to reference to see if there were any other maintenance
Exactly.
issues. Or any anticipated maintenance issues.
Well, he had some work, I wasn't with the county, but he had some work done down there, I don't even remember how many years ago, but yeah. I know he had some work done. Pretty sure it was structural work at that point.
Bridge was rebuilt, what, 5 or 6,
Is that
7
what it
years?
was? Yeah.
5 or 6 years ago. So it was rebuilt from ground up.
Well, maybe sometime over the next few days when you're ice skating underneath the bridge, you can kind of look up and see what it looks like.
You're gonna laugh when you read a column I've got to be.
Oh,
So Calvin, yeah, we used to play hockey under there and stuff. Parents would bring hot chocolate and cookies to us Sunday afternoons. Calvin Hostetter told me that they used to put fires on the side of the river there, and that they would play hockey then until 10, 11 o'clock at night with a lighted fire. But I remember we'd play under there, and the parents would bring all kind of food to us. I was gonna mention, I don't know if now would be the time or not, FYI, and maybe you know it, but the only woods that we had in the county was Monroe Woods in the southern part of the county. The only woods maintained and owned by Acres Incorporated, and they have shut that woods down. I don't know why. Randy's not very happy about it. Randy and Terry told me. I went by it the other day because I walked in it and they got it all planked up and everything. He said it was closed. So I don't know if that's anything,
and that was a Parks Woods or that?
pardon me,
That was maintained by the Parks or that one?
no, Acres Incorporated.
I don't know who
And
that
that's
is.
the only Acres Incorporated woods we have in Adams County.
Right by-
Also, Lenhart, 2 miles south of town, is maintained by the Parks, I think. It's a Parks wood, but Acres Incorporated, and there's the remains of an old brick school on that wood, or on the corner there, where that woods is. And that brick school is where supposedly Eleonora, a girl the Limberlost, was the girl that Gene Stratton Porter got for that book, attended that brick school. And it stands there on the corner. But Acres Incorporated, for whatever reason, shut it down.
And that's a private organization then?
Yeah, I think so.
All right,
It's all over northern Indiana. Acres Incorporated has their own properties all over northern Indiana, whatever.
Thinking out loud.
I am emailing you all. Well, I'm not going to email it. It's a mime. It's too
Here,
large.
Jim, show me where that's
The
at.
last covered bridge inspection was in April of 2019.
Is that on 1100 and 400 corner? Jim?
I think it's 400,
So, this is the covered bridge is right here, and the county parks has 52 acres of woods right here.
yeah, okay. Well,
That's the county parks.
yeah, this is southwest of Geneva.
Yep.
Let's go.
Corner of 1100 south and
West. 400
400 west.
This is the inspection report from April 11,
1100 south.
USI.
400 west.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think it's 1100.
Could be it.
Right there it is.
Mhm.
Yeah, I see it. Acres Incorporated, they got two tracks, one's 12.7 and the other
Is it
12.7.
Both on each side of the road?
Same side of the road.
To you, but it was gonna take.
It's on the east side of 400 west.
Okay, yes.
This is a farm,
It'll
and right there is where that school's sat,
It'll print up.
If you email it to me, I can print it.
on that corner.
So that's
Well,
actually a private.
And I have,
I did not
there's,
realize.
It's a huge file. Hold on.
Okay.
and that, I have walked all over the trails in there, and you can see, some of the old fences that fenced into the school playgrounds, and all that, there's still remnants of those fences in there too. But Terry has written, Acres
Oh,
Incorporated
that's
has a
down there.
publication, and Terry Lehman,
Yeah,
now
I
it's
sent it to
Terry
you.
Gorney. Terry has written different things for their publication and stuff.
West.
She
Where's
called us
116
my
and
attention,
400 west?
so
What are we? Okay.
I ride over, over here and up and out. But anyhow, that's still in Adams
Oh, it's
County,
right
is
here.
that not?
You gotta get to Indianapolis.
Yeah, this
This
is
is
Adams
400.
Yeah, just south of Adams
right
County,
there.
that's where the Jay County line is.
What are we doing?
The Loblaw is actually in Jay County.
Rex, I don't know what's going on, buddy.
Yeah, 1150. Yeah, this is Jay down here.
Mhm.
Okay, Rex, this is just a history, this is a history lesson, so,
Interesting.
yeah. We've just appointed Jim the county commissioner historian.
So, all right, moving right along, right?
Yeah, moving
Brad, if
right.
you ever wanna see that inspection report, if you don't have it over there, just come over, have it. It's a real big file. It's a number that,
All right. Yeah, that
2019.
that brick schoolhouse shows up on the GIS site, so. Okay.
Did it show Jim playing hockey
At
on
one
it?
point, wanted to raise money to refurbish the whole schoolhouse, but then they just couldn't quite get it together. But part of it's still there.
Yeah, well, restoration is expensive. So, all right. So as far as moving on with that, we will have a discussion as far as with Randy Lehman and wait till you get a response back from him. And then we can have
We'll
that
have it.
discussion.
We'll have it next week then.
And also, Tony did find the last bridge report on that bridge, so if you want to email that to Brad also,
Okay.
so, and see,
Yeah, I'm sure I've got it there, I just can't get in that office right now. That's
okay,
where we store everything.
okay.
Model.
Oh, right,
You might
Okay.
even, if you still have contact with Tim in some way, you can email him and ask him how often he had that done.
Yeah, I'll find
Cause it's
out.
been, this was April of 19, so.
you know, inspecting a covered bridge like that would probably be a pretty specialty, and I don't know, from an engineer's standpoint, is that a real specialty item?
It's fairly special, because the material is different. We've done a number of them, we have 2 of them. Carroll County, we do every 2 years. So it's a little bit out of the ordinary, but it's not all that special.
Yeah.
It still acts like a bridge.
Oh,
It still is.
Yeah.
It's a bridge.
yeah, you probably don't have to bring any divers in or anything.
Not normally, but some of the members are kind of hard to access because they're just hanging down from the bottom and you gotta climb up.
Okay. Well, very good. Maybe that would be the prudent thing to do is look and see if there's any anticipated maintenance on that bridge.
Yep.
As we're moving ahead, because especially if they're planning on the celebration this summer, then, we want that to be in good shape.
Get rid of all the graffiti.
Yeah, so. All right, I think that takes care of that. And then you didn't have anything else, Mark?
No, that's it.
Okay. All right, Rex, anything else?
No, nothing unless you're gonna talk about, the medical, examiners, what he sent us.
You're welcome to speak to that. I didn't have anything planned, but you're certainly welcome to speak to that if you'd like.
Well, it's not on the agenda, so I mean, I won't bring it up then.
Okay. All right. Well, otherwise, anything from the public? Okay.
I'll make a motion.
Okay, motion to adjourn?
Second.
Okay, motion carries. Thank you, gentlemen.